Are you drinking glass after glass of water, yet still feeling exhausted, stiff, or even battling cramps as the years go by? You're not imagining it. After 60, your muscles actually begin losing their ability to hold on to water, even if you're faithfully downing a gallon a day. And here's the part most people never hear. It's not really about how much water you drink. The truth is, it's about how well your body can actually use that water, especially inside your muscles. Because what so many people don't realize is that hydration isn't just about water, it's about minerals. Without the right minerals in your system, your muscles can't pull water inside the cells where it truly matters. That means weaker recovery, low energy, shrinking muscle mass, and more strain on your heart, kidneys, and joints. So yes, you can drink all day long and still end up dehydrated where it counts most, at the cellular level. But first, please like the video. The more people like it, the more YouTube will distribute it to people who don't have access to doctors or hospitals. Also, please share the video with your friends and family. Many lives can be saved with your help, so share it. Now, why does this matter so much after 60? Because muscle isn't just for moving around. It's your body's metabolic engine. It helps regulate insulin, burn fat, and support your brain. And when it's healthy, muscle tissue is about 75% water. But as we age, the body becomes less efficient at absorbing both water and electrolytes, especially if you're dealing with medications, low stomach acid, insulin resistance, or a low-salt diet. So the real issue isn't simply drinking more water. The real solution is optimizing intracellular hydration. That means actually getting water inside your muscle cells, not just through your mouth and into your bladder. And here's the good news. There's a simple, inexpensive addition you can make to your water that helps your body finally use that water the way it was designed to, rehydrating your muscles, boosting recovery, preventing cramps, and supporting fat burning, energy, and longevity. Let me start with a question. If you're over 60, have you been told to cut back on salt? Most people have. In fact, low-sodium diets are practically a standard prescription for older adults. But here's what they rarely explain. Your body doesn't just use sodium for blood pressure, it uses sodium to hydrate your muscles. And when sodium goes too low, especially as you age, you're not just losing flavor, you're losing function. Let me explain what's really going on inside your body. Your cells, especially your muscle cells, are like tiny balloons. To stay full, firm, and functional, they need water inside them. And sodium is one of the key minerals that helps pull water into the cell through a process called osmosis. You can drink all the water you want, but without enough sodium, that water stays outside the cell and gets flushed right through your kidneys. That's why so many people over 60 still suffer from dry skin, fatigue, cramps, and lightheadedness, even while drinking plenty of water. Now here's the part that shocks most people. Low sodium intake can actually trigger muscle loss. Why? Because when your cells are chronically dehydrated, the body begins breaking down muscle tissue to recycle the minerals and amino acids trapped inside. It's an emergency backup system. But over time, this backup takes a heavy toll, leading to weakness, shrinking muscle mass, and slower metabolism. A 2022 review in Nutrients highlighted that elderly populations often deal with something called normatic dehydration. That means blood sodium levels look normal on lab tests, but inside the cells, sodium is low. And that creates poor hydration where it matters most, inside the muscle cells. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about table salt here. Table salt is highly processed, stripped of trace minerals, and often mixed with anti-caking agents like aluminum. That's not the sodium your body thrives on. Instead, I recommend switching to a natural, unrefined salt like Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. These salts contain not just sodium chloride, but also magnesium, potassium, and over 60 trace minerals that support hydration, adrenal health, and electrolyte balance. Let's break it down with a simple whiteboard analogy. Imagine your muscle cell as a sponge. Pour plain water on it, and it just drips right off the surface. But sprinkle a little mineral salt onto that sponge, and suddenly it absorbs and holds the water. That's exactly what sodium does at the cellular level. And here comes the protocol. Start your day with a mineralized water drink. Mix about 1/4 teaspoon of Celtic sea salt into 16 to 20 ounces of filtered water. Drink this first thing in the morning before coffee or breakfast. Add a splash of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar to boost digestion and mineral absorption. Avoid drinking plain water in excess. Too much plain water without minerals can actually flush out electrolytes and make cellular dehydration worse. Instead, sip mineral water or add a pinch of salt throughout the day. Track your symptoms. If you start noticing fewer cramps, more energy, or improved bowel regularity, that's your body telling you it was missing this hydration key. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post daily content like this to help you naturally repair your metabolism, strengthen your muscles, and restore your energy. And one more thing, if you're on blood pressure medication, check with your doctor before making big changes in sodium. In many cases, supporting proper mineral balance actually helps stabilize blood pressure because it improves hydration and reduces stress on your adrenals. So don't fear sodium. Fear dehydration at the cellular level. When you give your muscles the minerals they crave, you're not just preventing cramps, you're rebuilding strength, protecting your metabolism, and slowing down the aging process from the inside out. We've all been told that if you want to build or protect muscle after 60, you need more protein. And yes, protein is absolutely critical. It delivers the raw material, the amino acids, needed to rebuild muscle fibers. But here's what most people don't realize. Without the right electrolytes, your muscles can't actually use that protein effectively. In fact, electrolytes like potassium and magnesium are what make your muscles fire, recover, and hold on to water. Without them, it's like trying to build a house with bricks, but no workers, no tools, and no electricity. So here's what's really happening inside your body. Your muscle cells are powered by electrical signals, and those signals are only possible because of electrolytes. Every time you move, lift a grocery bag, or even just stand up from a chair, your nervous system sends an electrical impulse to your muscle. Potassium is what allows that contraction to happen. At the same time, magnesium helps your muscles relax afterward. If you're low in potassium, you may feel weak or shaky. If you're low in magnesium, you might deal with cramps, spasms, or restless legs at night. And both minerals are essential for keeping water locked inside your muscle cells. Let me explain it with an everyday analogy. Think of your muscles like an electric car. Protein is the frame and the wheels. It gives the structure. But potassium and magnesium are the battery and the wiring. They're what make the car actually run. Without electrolytes, you're left with nothing more than a very expensive shell that doesn't move. And here's the problem after 60. Most adults are running dangerously low on potassium and magnesium. According to the CDC, over 98% of Americans don't meet the daily requirement for potassium. And that gap is even bigger in older adults, thanks to lower appetite, medications, and weaker kidneys. Magnesium deficiency is also extremely common, especially if you're on diuretics, PPIs, or managing blood sugar issues. Research is clear. Electrolyte imbalance directly impacts muscle volume. A 2019 study in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle found that potassium depletion raised the risk of sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, by impairing hydration and reducing strength. So what can you do? Here's your functional medicine protocol. Start tracking your potassium-rich foods. Aim for 4,700 milligrams daily, not from supplements, but from real food. Best sources include avocados, spinach, salmon, squash, coconut water, and even unsweetened tomato juice. Add magnesium before bed. I recommend magnesium glycinate or malate, about 300 to 400 milligrams in the evening, especially if you get cramps or struggle with sleep. Add potassium citrate to your water in small amounts. This form is highly absorbable and can be mixed with your morning or midday water. Just 1/8 teaspoon delivers around 300 to 400 milligrams of potassium. But go slow and watch your body's response. Pair electrolytes with salt for synergy. Remember, these minerals don't work alone. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride all team up to create the proper electrical charge in and out of your muscle cells. That's what maintains hydration and keeps your muscles toned. So yes, protein is vital, but it's not the whole story. If your muscles don't have the mineral spark they need, you'll never get the full benefit of your workouts, your protein shakes, or your diet. Think of it this way. Protein builds the house, but electrolytes turn on the power. If you've been told that insulin is only about blood sugar, you've only heard half the story. Because here's what most people, even many doctors, don't realize. Insulin also controls how your body handles sodium and potassium. And when insulin stops working properly, which is common after 60, your ability to hydrate your muscles quietly starts to break down. Let me explain what's really happening inside your body. When insulin is working the way it should, it does much more than just move glucose into your cells. It also helps your kidneys hold on to sodium and manage electrolyte balance in your blood. At the same time, insulin pushes potassium into your cells, where it fuels muscle contraction and holds on to water. But in insulin resistance, which affects over 50% of people over 60, that whole system goes haywire. Here's the whiteboard picture. Imagine your muscle cell as a balloon that needs potassium inside to stay full and firm. Insulin acts like the pump, pushing potassium in. But when you become insulin resistant, that pump jams. Potassium stays outside the cell, water can't follow, and the muscle cell starts to deflate. And the result? Your muscles become dehydrated and weaker. Even though you're eating well and drinking plenty of water, your kidneys start spilling sodium, which leads to even more fluid loss. Meanwhile, your body scrambles to compensate by raising cortisol and holding on to water in the wrong places, like swollen ankles, puffiness in the face, or bloating around the belly instead of inside your muscles where you need it most. That's why so many people over 60 deal with cramps, weakness, poor recovery, and even weight gain, not from lack of effort, but because their cells simply can't hydrate properly when insulin signaling breaks down. And the research is clear. A 2020 paper in Frontiers in Endocrinology showed that insulin resistance directly disrupts sodium and potassium regulation, driving both intracellular dehydration and sarcopenia, the muscle loss tied to aging and metabolic disease. So if you're struggling with insulin resistance, even in the early stages, it's not just about blood sugar. You're literally draining water and minerals out of your muscles day after day. But here's the good news. You can turn this around, and it starts with restoring insulin sensitivity. Here's your functional medicine protocol. Eat in a compressed window, 8 hours or less per day. Intermittent fasting is one of the most powerful ways to lower insulin and restore electrolyte balance. A simple 16 to 8 fasting schedule, like eating from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., can help reset potassium transport and reduce sodium loss. Ditch refined carbs and hidden sugars. Cut out the bread, cereal, fruit juice, and between-meal snacks. These don't just spike insulin, they also jam the electrolyte pumps inside your muscle cells. Add apple cider vinegar before meals. 1 to 2 tablespoons in water before eating has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, especially in older adults. Plus, it helps with mineral absorption, particularly magnesium. Prioritize potassium-rich, low-glycemic foods. Leafy greens, avocados, and cruciferous vegetables support electrolyte balance while keeping blood sugar stable. Add chromium or berberine if needed. These natural compounds have been shown to support insulin signaling and electrolyte balance. But always start with food and fasting first. So remember this. You can't fix hydration without fixing insulin. Salt and minerals are essential, yes, but if insulin resistance is blocking them from entering your cells, you'll stay dry on the inside no matter how much water you drink. fix the root cause, and suddenly hydration starts working again the way nature intended. We've talked about the importance of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, but now let's make it practical. Because here's the truth. If you're over 60 and waking up stiff, tired, or foggy, your body isn't just low on energy, it's running low on hydration at the cellular level. And there's one very simple habit you can start tomorrow morning that can flip that switch almost immediately. It's called electrolyte priming, and it begins with your very first glass of water. See, after 8 to 10 hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. You've lost water through breathing, sweat, and urine, but you've also lost electrolytes, especially sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And here's the key. When your cells are already low on electrolytes, drinking plain water first thing can actually make the problem worse by diluting those minerals even further. What we want to do instead is add the right mineral blend to your morning water to wake up your metabolism, rehydrate your muscles, and energize your entire day. Think of it like this. Picture your cells as dry soil. If you pour plain water on bone-dry soil, it just runs right off the surface. But if you mix in a mineral-rich solution, like compost or electrolytes, the soil absorbs and holds on to the water deeply. That's exactly how your cells behave. So what should you actually add to your water? Here's the morning hydration protocol I recommend, especially for adults over 60. Start with 16 to 20 ounces of filtered water. Make this the very first thing you drink before coffee or breakfast. You're priming your hydration system before anything else hits your bloodstream. Add 1/4 teaspoon of unrefined sea salt. Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt are best. These provide sodium chloride plus up to 60 trace minerals. This helps activate the sodium-potassium pump that pulls water into your cells. Add 1/8 teaspoon of potassium chloride or potassium citrate. This boosts intracellular hydration by pushing potassium into your cells, which is what really locks the water inside. Important, if you're on medications that affect potassium, like ACE inhibitors or diuretics, check with your doctor first. Optional, add 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate or malate. You can take it in capsule form or use an electrolyte blend that includes magnesium. This relaxes blood vessels, supports adrenal health, and prevents muscle cramps. Add 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. This gently boosts stomach acid and mineral absorption, which both decline with age. Stir it all up and sip slowly over 15 to 30 minutes. That gives your cells time to absorb the minerals and helps your digestive system ease into the day. This simple protocol restores hydration inside your cells, so your muscles, nerves, and tissues actually pull in and hold the water instead of just flushing it through. Now, you can also use pre-formulated electrolyte mixes, but choose wisely. Look for ones with no added sugar, at least 500 milligrams sodium, 300 milligrams potassium, and 100 milligrams magnesium per serving. Clean ingredients only. No artificial dyes, fillers, or preservatives. Some good options include LMNT, Redmond Relight, or plain unflavored electrolyte powders, but always read the label. The secret here is consistency. If you follow this hydration protocol every morning for just 1 week, you'll likely notice fewer leg cramps, sharper energy and focus, smoother digestion, less joint stiffness, and even improvements in blood pressure or insulin sensitivity. It's one of the fastest, simplest ways to restore muscle function and energy without a single pill or workout. And it works because you're finally fixing hydration at the root, inside the cell. So let's say you're adding the right minerals to your water, you're drinking enough fluids, but still, you're not feeling the benefits, you're still cramping. Energy is low, muscles feel weak or stiff. Why? Because the problem might not be what you're drinking. The problem might be what your body simply can't absorb. And this brings us to one of the most overlooked causes of poor hydration in older adults: low stomach acid. Here's what's really going on inside your body. After age 60, your body naturally produces less hydrochloric acid in the stomach. And that acid isn't just about breaking down food, it's also essential for activating and absorbing minerals like magnesium, calcium, zinc, and even potassium. Without enough acid, minerals just pass through your digestive tract and often get excreted before they can be absorbed. And to make things worse, so many people over 60 are also prescribed acid-blocking medications like proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, or antacids. These drugs are meant for reflux, but over time, they can completely shut down the stomach's ability to absorb key electrolytes. A 2021 study published in Clinical Interventions in Aging showed that long-term PPI used significantly reduced magnesium, calcium, and vitamin B12 absorption. And all of these are absolutely critical for muscle health and intracellular hydration. So here's the whiteboard analogy. Think of your stomach as a gatekeeper. If the gate isn't working, if acid is too low, then no matter how many minerals you pour into your water, they can't get through the door. That's why it's not just about what you consume, it's about what your body can actually use. So how do we fix this? Here's your functional medicine protocol. Test for low stomach acid at home, a simple DIY test. First thing in the morning, drink 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda mixed in water. If you don't burp within 3 to 5 minutes, you may have low stomach acid. It's not a medical diagnosis, but it gives you a clue. Add apple cider vinegar or lemon water before meals. 1 tablespoon of ACV in a few ounces of water about 10 minutes before eating can stimulate stomach acid naturally. That boosts digestion and improves mineral absorption. Try betaine HCl with meals cautiously. This natural supplement can raise stomach acid. Start with 1 capsule during protein-rich meals and watch how you feel. If you notice a warm or burning sensation, reduce the dose. Avoid large amounts of plain water with meals. Too much water at mealtime dilutes stomach acid. Instead, sip lightly with meals and hydrate more between them. And watch your medications. If you're on long-term antacids or PPIs, talk with your doctor about whether they're still necessary or whether dietary changes could help reduce reflux while tapering off. Many people stay on these drugs for years without reassessment. Rebuild the microbiome. Poor stomach acid often comes hand in hand with gut imbalance, which further blocks mineral absorption. Include fermented foods like sauerkraut or kefir, or consider a high-quality probiotic. And here's the big takeaway. Even the best hydration protocol won't work if minerals aren't being absorbed. Stomach acid is the on switch for mineral metabolism. Without it, your muscles are trying to run on empty. So if you've been doing everything right, but still battling fatigue, cramps, or weak recovery, start looking at digestion, especially stomach acid and medications. Fix the gatekeeper, and suddenly those hydration tools you've been using, salt, potassium, magnesium, finally start working. You'll feel it in your energy, your muscle tone, and your ability to bounce back. At this point, you might be asking, why does all of this matter so much? Why go through the trouble of adding minerals to water, fixing electrolytes, boosting stomach acid, and addressing insulin resistance? Because here's the truth most people never hear. Hydrated muscles aren't just about movement. They're about metabolism itself. Let me explain what's happening inside your body. Your muscle tissue is your metabolic engine. It's where fat gets burned. It's where glucose is stored. It's where your energy is produced. And healthy muscle is roughly 75% water. When that water is inside the muscle cells where it belongs, your metabolism hums along efficiently. You burn more calories even at rest. You have sharper insulin sensitivity. You recover faster. You feel stable, strong, and steady on your feet. But when your muscles are chronically dehydrated, which happens so easily after 60 because of low mineral intake, weak stomach acid, insulin resistance, and medications, your entire system begins to downshift. And here's the kicker. Dehydrated muscles burn less fat. They stop responding well to insulin. They literally shrink in size, leading to sarcopenia, frailty, and a higher risk of falls. A 2018 review in the Journal of Gerontology made it clear Cellular dehydration in skeletal muscle doesn't just weaken performance, it also damages mitochondrial function and slows down metabolic rate. In simple terms, your energy factories stall, your body stores more fat, and your risk for age-related decline skyrockets. Here's a picture to help it stick. Imagine your muscles like sponges. A full hydrated sponge is springy, strong, and useful. A dry sponge is stiff, brittle, and fragile. That's the difference inside your body. Hydration isn't just about comfort. It determines whether your muscles actually work the way they're supposed to. And here's what makes this even more powerful. Well-hydrated muscles stabilize your posture and balance. They buffer blood sugar swings. They keep your mitochondria running efficiently. They even help regulate cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down tissue and adds belly fat. So by restoring hydration inside your muscles, you create a ripple effect across your entire body. Stronger muscles, steadier energy, faster recovery, healthier fat burning. That's why professional athletes obsess over electrolytes. But here's the truth. It matters even more after 60, because our margin for error gets smaller with age. So here's your functional health challenge. Hydrate smarter, not just more. Make that first glass of water in the morning count. Add sea salt, potassium, and lemon. Sip it slowly. Protect your muscles like your life depends on it, because it does. Muscle is the most important organ for aging well. It protects your joints, stabilizes your hormones, burns fat, and supports your brain. And hydration is what keeps that muscle alive and functional. Track how you feel. Most people notice within 3 to 5 days of proper hydration better energy, fewer cramps, easier digestion, clearer thinking, and even firmer muscles thanks to restored water balance. This is what happens when you stop chasing surface-level fixes and finally support your body where change really happens, inside the cell. So, let's zoom out for a moment. We've been told for years that hydration is just about one thing, drinking more water. But now you understand the deeper truth. Real hydration is about pulling that water into your cells, especially your muscle tissue, where it fuels energy, fat burning, and healthy aging. And after 60, this process becomes more fragile. You're more likely to lose sodium through your kidneys. You're absorbing fewer minerals because of low stomach acid or certain medications. And if insulin resistance is in the picture, your cells can't even pull in potassium to stay hydrated. So despite your best efforts, eating clean, drinking water, you may still feel your muscles shrinking, your energy dipping, and your body slowing down. But now you know the missing link. It's not just about water, it's mineral-driven metabolic hydration. Let's recap the core insights. Sodium is essential. The right kind of salt pulls water into muscle cells and prevents tissue breakdown. Potassium and magnesium are critical. They run your muscular electricity and keep hydration locked inside the cell. Insulin resistance quietly dehydrates your cells even when you drink enough water. A simple morning water protocol can flip the hydration switch and prime your body for energy all day. Low stomach acid and certain medications can block absorption, so fixing digestion is just as important as drinking right. And most importantly, hydrated muscles are your foundation. They protect your metabolism, balance, fat burning, and longevity. This is why hydration and metabolic health can't be separated. They are two sides of the same coin, and your muscle tissue is the currency. So here's your next step. Tomorrow morning, try the hydration protocol. Start with 16 ounces of filtered water, add 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, a pinch of potassium, and a splash of lemon or apple cider vinegar. Sip it slowly before coffee or food. Track how you feel, not just right away, but over the next few days. Notice if your energy rises, if your thinking feels sharper, if stubborn cramps or afternoon crashes start to fade. Because the more your cells hydrate, the more your muscles thrive, and the more your metabolism works for you instead of against you. And remember, no matter your age, you are not too old, and it is not too late. You just need to start supporting your body the way it was designed to function. If this video added value, give it a like and subscribe to join others who are optimizing their metabolism, energy, and longevity naturally. Your body is smarter than you think. Let's finally give it what it needs to do, what it was designed to do.